Oh my God, it's Shelly life. Their excuse, look at everything she's planning. She thought the world loves her. Shelly life, she unapologetic, sometimes misunderstood. She a boss, making boss moves, pushing, pressing past the pain. Shelly life, oh my God, it's Shelly life. Oh, it's Shelly life. She's talking about it, Shelly life. She's winning, Shelly life. Come on, fellas and ladies, let's pop our shit. It's Shelly life, oh, it's Shelly life.
Singing is not just about the notes. It's about our freedom. It's about the struggles and the hardship we go through.
Yeah.
Oh, this is nice.
You see, out here in the world, there's a whole lot of do's and don'ts. But in my world, I can do any and everything I want to do.
Looks like somebody got their eyes on you. Baby. Girl, give the man a chance. This is a really nice place. Do you come here often?
Well, I come here a few times a week. Being that it is my place and all.
Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I did not know this was your spot.
Life is about taking chances and risks. And you're one that I would take a chance on.
Wow, I really appreciate that. And I did have an amazing time tonight.
Listen, you're my best friend, and I love you, girl. But listen, Domino, that nigga, he is not for you.
I just want to stay here and enjoy myself.
I don't give a fuck what you want to do.
Please just leave his ass before somebody calls me, telling me he's killed you.
I'm gonna tell you one more motherfucking time. I'm tired of your shit.
I saw how he treats you, girl. You don't have to put up with somebody putting their hands on you constantly.
Regina, just leave it alone. You're fucking crazy. You're crazy.
Crawl, bitch! Crawl! That's what I'm saying. Like that. I like that, yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Motherfucker. Shit. Fuck you! Fuck you! You're gonna die today. Shut the fuck up, yo.
Get your motherfucking hands off her nigga right now.
Oh, yeah?
It's just a misunderstanding.
Nothing can take away your pain. Nothing can fade your past, babe. Can you just ride along with me? Tell me, babe, tell me.
Hey. Happy Wednesday, beautiful people. Boy, I'm telling y'all, I'm going to sing freedom to y'all to death. Trust me when I tell you, y'all going to be like, oh my God, I feel like I don't watch this movie. What's going on, Melvin James? How you doing? Everybody, welcome to Shelly Live, y'all. We are going to hop in it and talk about Unfiltered Confessions. Wildest relationship mistakes people admit. From cheating scandals to guilty pleasures, we're diving into jaw-dropping confession people usually take to the grave. We're talking about the stuff you don't want nobody to know about. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about that. What is it? What is it that you wouldn't want somebody to find out about you that you just keep covering? That you just keep covering up, covering up. I had to ask myself that when I was coming up with this topic. I was like, you know, I might have a couple of onesie twosies, but it doesn't have to be something that is sexual. It could be anything like you meet somebody and then you don't want them to know this one thing that you're saying you're going to take to the grave, to your casket, and the only way it's going to come out is if somebody else leaks your troubles. I tell my best friend, I was like, yeah, like I'm for real. I'd be like, we're gonna die with this, in our coffin. We're gonna go to the grave with it. So what is it? What are some of these things that we hide from people? And then the bigger question is, why do we hide it? Is it something that we're like embarrassed by? Is it something that that you done that you may not have liked that you did it and you might have tried it? I used to think that being with a woman was really bad, right? Like really bad. But then I used to have these little thoughts. These little thoughts used to pop in my head all the time. Like, I wonder what it'd be like. I wonder what, this is probably one of the biggest secrets in my life of living. But I'm just saying it was always like this little curiosity in my head. So as I was younger, I would like get, just think about it, just a little bit of thinking. And I used to be like, I wonder what that would be like, or what it would look like, or, just I used to be like, it was like embarrassed because, you're not supposed to think it, right? And especially back then, you definitely didn't think about if you wanted to, or if you didn't want to, or if you might have wanted to, and then I found myself thinking, like, almost like daunting on it, like, like dwelling on it. Like, I wonder, if I could really do that, if I could really, be with the girl, what would her breast feel like against my breast, or what would her mouth feel like against my mouth? It was all these things running through my head. And this is not right now in my life. This is like, way back then. I wouldn't talk about this with a man that I'm dating. Why? Because, sometimes you tell men stuff and they be like, well, I want to try it. You know what I'm saying? They might be like, oh, I want to do that too. So yeah, that was one of those things. I think, well, I now advertise it to the whole of the world. So it's no longer the secret that we're taking to the grave, right? But they are like, that was just one of my secrets that I have you ever been with a woman? Have you ever, especially guys, they're always acting like the crazy questions, right? And I might be the one to be like, well, no, never, never really had the desire to try it or nothing like that. But I think until you feed your brain, what you need to feed it. Like sometimes you might think a thought and it's already the sin because you done thought it anyway. So you may as well just go ahead and say, that's what it is. Let me just figure it out. So a lot of times I would find myself just wanting to figure out shit, just wanting to know, and be curiosity kill the cat. So the things that I would take to the grave would be the things that I wouldn't tell nobody, right? Sounds like you need to try that and tell us how it was. No, John, that's what I'm saying. I've already done that. But that would be one of the things that I would not sit down and have a conversation with if I was dating somebody. I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, by the way, let me tell you what I did back in the day. It was one of those things where you're curious, you try it, and then you just, but we sit down and had that conversation. It's almost like if a man, some men, they lust after men. They probably would never say it out loud, but they do. They might be curious. It might just be a curious. They call them what it is called now. I think it's called pansexual. I think when you do both, you kind of go both. And I used to think back then, if two men can be in a room with two women and you're all in there just gyrating all over each other, Don't y'all look over there sometime, be like, damn, nigga, you was doing it in. I think people look over there and look sometime. That's the thing. But what are some of the things that you would definitely not tell somebody? Like, some people have abortions. They don't want to tell their spouses they have them. Some people start off with a lie and then they keep telling the lie and never can fix the lie. So they say, instead of me telling the truth, I'm gonna wait till it just airs itself out. Wait. Just sit around and just let it pop by itself. Sometimes it's not so. And then when it happens, it's a disaster. It's just one big ass disaster. And you sit there, well, why didn't I tell the truth? I had a chance to somebody else telling my story. I think that's why I tell my own business, because I don't be wanting nobody to tell it for me. The only human alive, the only human in the universe that probably knows 99.7 of my shit would be V Lovebird. And you'd have to pry it out of her with probably her life, because baby, me and her did a whole lot of stuff back in the day. So it would be one of them things where I would have to be like, if you tell that. But I don't think she ever would. I just don't think she ever would. It would just be interesting. But that's the only one, And then there, when I meet guys now, people always ask, men always ask the craziest things. They want to know about this and how, but that's kind of weird. Like, what you gonna do? Like, try to even out, like even out with the person, meet them halfway, see if you can do it better. I don't know how that works. Let's say, have you ever stayed in a relationship way too long? How long did it drag on before you finally left? Because what you was holding was so bad. Like, you're holding information, you want to tell it. And I guess that could be like being backed against a wall, almost like when you have something that you want to say, but you just don't know how to come out with it. Sometimes it's just easier just to say it, you know what I'm saying? And not even caring the outcome, because you got to think about it like this. Just imagine you don't say something, right? And you done told your boys and your partners that you done told this lie. You know how men lie, right? That you did this. He knows you. And then my friends and their girlfriends, y'all are all together. And then, woo, what do you know? Here comes this secret that you done told because your boy done pillow talked with his chick and told his chick about your indiscretions. And then it comes out at a table and you're like, oh, what the hell just happened here? So it's just better just to just tell the truth. Sometimes it'll set you free, just air it out, no matter how bad. Because either only two things are going to happen. Either the person's going to leave you or they're going to stick with you. There's people that have kids, like children out here, that will have their girlfriends and their wives. They have know that they have other children and never tell it. Now, I don't even know how you can hide a whole kid, but there are people that can hide a whole child for like their whole life. And you never know. Like, you just never know about it. And then one day when you die, here comes baby boy coming to the surface, because now the mother's like, okay, now I got to come and I got to explain my child to you. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy, some of the stuff that people will really kind of come. Now, if you go see, you sitting somewhere and then all of a sudden decide, Johnny decide he want to tell Bobby that he done boned his wife because he was lusting over her all along. I heard that word yesterday speaking on the show. You should, I guess, if you're available. Yes, I if I'm available, I would be, because I think we talked about that yesterday. I didn't know what it was. I didn't. Tamika was on here yesterday, and she mentioned polygram. How you say it? Poly polygrammy? Polygrammy? Have like multiple wives and husbands, or is it more wives and more husbands? Wives method. The Wi-Fi at my house is absolutely annoying. What is the biggest red flag you ignored that later blew up in your face because you should have just told the truth? You should have just said it. That you should have just said. Let me think. So years ago, this is years ago, for real. I used to keep write everything in my diary. Any fantasy I had, I would just write it in my journal, honey. I'd like, oh yeah, I would love to do XYZ, and I would like to, know what this feels like. And oh my God, this guy was gorgeous. And I would write it down. You wouldn't think that someone would go in your diary, right? That's what you wouldn't think. Well, let me tell you. So I had just diaries on top of diaries on top of diaries. I mean, they've always had them. I've always had them. So I would just write, right? So me and my guy went out of the country, and we was actually in Guyana. And I left the diary on the bed, locked it with a key too. That's the other part. Locked it, left it on the bed accidentally. Never a mistake that I would ever make. But I think I was rushing, and I just kind of put it down, and I just kind of walked away from it. So I'm in the shower. I'm just taking a bath. I'm lollygagging along with my every 1-2 day. I come out the shower. This nigga looked mad. I'm trying to figure out why. I mean, he looked puzzled and alarmed. Like he was looking at me with that eye. And I'm going, I'm being me. I'm like, what's up, babe? What's the matter? What's going on? Like, what's wrong? And he's looking at me side-eyed and crazy. So I'm just like, really trying to figure out what's going on. Because his mood was happy when I went in the shower, and now I came out. This nigga mad. I'm on 10. So later on that night, yeah, you never know. You never know. It was a lot of you never knows. So the time we get back to where we were in the hotel, I guess he couldn't hold it no more. And he said, I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question. That nigga started out, I don't want to ask you a question. I said, what's the question? Have you ever fantasized over anybody that I know? And I'm like, I get high pitched when I'm telling a story, right? So I was like, no, absolutely not. Like, absolutely not. But he had this one friend. That was so good looking. I mean, he was good looking on a bad day. He was just a good looking guy. Now, I would have never crossed the fence and tried to do anything with the man, but he was good looking though. You got to give credit where credit's due. You ever have a homeboy and his girlfriend is real fine, and you be like, God damn, that girl is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? We do this. It's life. Now, once again, this was my diary. I was writing the thoughts that probably trying to tap dance around the conversation. But the more I started, the more that I got high pitched, the madder this nigga got. So I'm like, well, no, some of your friends are cute. This is me. I was like, yeah, some of them are really cute. Yeah, some of them are nice. Yeah. And he's like, are you telling me a lie? And he's getting mad. And I'm like, this nigga got the nose. Now, in my mind, I'm sitting there going, he had to go in my diary. Because in my head, I'm thinking, and I couldn't find the diary. That was the thing. The nigga took the whole diary. Like, I'm looking for it. I'm thinking, I'm backtracking myself. Like, holy shit, where did I replace this? Where did I put it down? So he goes, have you ever lied to me about anything when it comes to your desires of me? And I wrote about how small his penis was too. That was in the diary too. I wrote that his penis was very small. And I was like, his penis was so small, but it was cute. I did describe it. I did say it was cute, and he was pissed off. I'm talking about freaking livid about that part. So I was just like, well, and he was like, well, do I satisfy? And he was crazy. Trust me when I tell you, he was crazy. So I was like, so finally, I figured in my brain, I was like, okay, he has to have had my diary because he's asking questions that I wrote in my diary. So let me just be truthful. So there goes Shelly with the truth. Sometimes the truth do not set you free. I'm telling you that right now because it didn't set me free that night. So I'm like, well, I had a, you have one cute friend. He's really cute. I think he's very attractive. And, I might have, wrote something in my diary. That's what I said. I was like, I might have wrote something down, just writing it, jottling it out of my brain, And he put up his hand. He was like, you think that's a good thing? You think that, the accent's coming out, it's thick. I'm nervous now. Like, this nigga finna kill me, And then he was just like, and then then do I please you? Do I satisfy you while you're thinking of all these things? And it really wasn't that. It wasn't that, even with a small penis, he was very satisfying with a small penis. I just wrote that it was small. That's all. It was small. So, and it wasn't for him to read. That's the first thing. You on the door for it. Asking it shall be given unto you. So you went looking for it. You found something. That's why I don't go through people's phones. You go through people's phones, you find out shit, then you're mad. And then you got to try to bring it up. And then you got to bring it up like you didn't look. So my motto is just don't go looking for the shit. But, he went looking. And I promise you, that night got real ugly real fast. It was, whoo, baby. It was mind blowing. It's singing for freedom, y'all. There we go. Because it's the character that's sitting here. But, it was real ugly because he got so mad, and the mad, I couldn't understand it or comprehend it because it was bad or really wrong, for me to be writing about the friend that was sexy with the nice abs and the muscles and the pretty skin. That's probably how I described it back then. I was like, this is beautiful. But I was young, y'all. I was young. I was really young back then. I was young. I was still living a girl's life. I was still, living the dream, wanting to, you meet. And I had a boss dude, but he was a little cool dude, until he moved. We really were. Like, I got along with him. I lived with this man for a long time. Because while he was out doing his indiscretions, he put me to live with his friend, who is this character in the movie. But I ended up living with the friend for a long time. So we became friends. And he was still sexy when he was there. I was like, this man is right across the hall now. Like, he's right there. So I just think about things that I wouldn't say out loud to somebody. Like, I probably wouldn't have told him the truth had I felt like he wasn't going to kill me in the room that day. But he was crazy. And I'm like, this man's going to kill me. Let me just tell him the truth because he's mad. But he didn't just stop and read parts of the diary. He read the diary. Like, he hit it and read it. And then every day he would come with a different piece of it. And I'm like, you write stuff down. You ain't thinking about all that shit you done wrote in your diary and that somebody going to be. This man would come every day and pick out a piece that he was going to tell me about. Like, and you feel like this? I'd be coming home from work and he'd be asking me a question and I'd be like, what? What are we talking about here? What are we even talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about. Because I don't fuck that part. You got to pick your poison. It's either the truth's going to set you free or the truth is going to get you killed. In my case, at that situation with this dude behind me, it was not a good idea to tell him the truth. He probably tried to kill. I ended up in the hospital that night. The man tried to kill me, like literally tried to kill me because he was so mad. And and he was very jealous. He didn't even care if it was make believe. He was just a jealous man. He didn't want me to look up, look around, couldn't look through the side of my eyes. I mean, boy, if y'all knew me back in the day when I was in this situation, whew, I don't even know how I survived it. I really don't. But I did. The point is I did. But he was crazy though. And those are the things when I think about when I say I would never. And I think this situation taught me some things you just don't say out loud. Some things you just keep to yourself. You don't even bring it up. I'd rather not tell a lie and just don't say nothing. Like, you might something, I might be super quiet. Like, all right. Yeah, okay. I think that's better than me saying, well, yeah, take it for what it is. If I did something when I was 30, I don't want to sit around here talking about, what I did when I was 22. or 24, or I was doing all kinds of shit at that age. I was bad. I was all over the place, like just running all kinds of game and playing all kinds of head games with people. I was terrible. I had to pray when I came out of being terrible. Hell, I said, oh Lord, let me fix my reputation real fast. And I started very early. But I learned that some things you really do take to your grave. But you know what I also do that I don't do anymore? I don't goddamn journal. I don't write shit down in a diary because people are nosy. If something has a key, he had to break the lottery, and he was so nosy to the point that he wanted to find out what was in the diary. So to me, had I had the balls back then, I would have been with people. And my screen went black. I don't know if y'all see me when I'm still talking, but no, it's some things you just don't say. You just leave it alone. Leave it alone. Now, and you have to ask yourself, if you're starting something with someone, why do they want to know all the bad things you did anyway? Like, well, in my case, I'd probably start with the bad things. I'd be like, well, yeah. I don't think being with another woman is a bad thing, though. Like, I think when you're curious and you just want to know, I think that's what it is. You just want to know. Sometimes you just want to know. Like, I think that women are beautiful beings. So that might be something that a man might not understand about me. I think women are beautiful beings, right? Like, I can look at a woman and say, oh my God, she's beautiful. And look at her curves and look at her face, and I can say that. And I'm not a lesbian. But I can look at someone and say, damn, she's nice. I've seen, lesbian, and they're like, whoa. It's like, you got to look and you look again and you be like, oh, that one is really nice looking. And then you wonder why you're attracted to it, right? You wonder why you're sitting there. I shouldn't say it, but you wonder why you're attracted, because it's in your mind, it's morally wrong. But then when you think about it, it's like looking at a man just saying he's good looking, right? Is it any different? It's just a woman. That's it. So, and that's how my mind registers it. It doesn't take it anywhere else outside of it. It's like, oh my God, this is good looking. It's good looking. Good looking is good looking. I don't care what it looks like, And then sometimes you might find yourself attracted. I don't know if men go through that. Like, let me not insult all y'all that's on here watching, Marcus, John, and Juan, and Melvin, and you all that's tuning in, and y'all will watch this later and be like, this girl's crazy. I don't know if men look at men like that sometimes. Like, when you're in the gym and you ducked off, do you look at another man and be like, that nigga got some nice abs, or he got some nice triceps, or do you do that? And if you did do it, would you feel like you're gay because you did it? Or would it be one of them things you don't tell nobody about, one of them secrets that you because society say you're not supposed to do this, you're supposed to think this is what happens in the world, while we start opening our minds to all these things that we probably should not be opening our mind to. I think it starts with you saying, yeah, okay. Just you think about like men that eat coochie, right? Somebody started that somewhere years ago. Somebody was sitting there and said, this looks like it's appetizing. Let me try it. Like, think about how it came. And then one day we went practicing it, right? We started practicing how it works. Let me see if it should go like the left to the right to the center. Somebody did this, right? Is it bad? I ask these questions. Somebody years ago gave the first blowjob. I would know who that person was. Just gave the first one. That's not something you can Google. Maybe I can BT and see what comes up. Who was the first person who gave head? Where did it start? It didn't become the extra. You just go do that and it's done. You got to do a whole tap dance out, and people want all kinds of stuff. Want you to turn all kinds of stuff down there. I don't get it, but some people like what they like. And would you be a freaky person if you told somebody? If you sat down with boo and you say I'm gonna I want you to do this to me. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh. I want you to do this to me because I've been thinking about it. You're with your girlfriend. You may have tried it, and somebody else might have did it. Here's one of them secrets. I'm gonna tell you how I go. And then you say, well, I want you to try this with me. I like it. I like it a lot. And then you find yourself in these awkward, strange positions. And you're asking your current situation to do it. But you ain't tell her you did it before. It would be a red flag for a woman. It's like when you go out and you cheat and you come home and you don't learn the acrobatic move over here. And then you come home and you want your girl to do that move that the other girl did because she do it better. That part, y'all think y'all be knowing. We know, we act like we don't know. Juan said Leviticus 18 verses 22. People think that the Old Testament at other men in any kind of way. I'm just saying what, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying, but Juan, let's be real. People do. There are men that be in a marriage and will come out of a marriage and be with a man. This happens for real. This is not something that does not happen in real life. It is. There are men that have been married for years, and I mean years, and they will come out of a marriage and be with a man because that was their fantasy, that was their desire. The Kardashians, the mama, and just became a whole woman. And he was walking around in her underwear. She would come home and she would catch him in her underwear. Do you think that that lady was sitting there looking at her heterosexual husband saying, my husband's walking around in my drawers when I'm not at home? No, I'm sure she wasn't. So people do stuff, right? People, that would be something they would take to their grave. But what happened, it aired on TV. So she had to bring it to light because it was what it was. And the whole world watched her be embarrassed because her whole husband moved out and became a whole woman. There's nothing different than me sitting here saying that a man could be in a gym and he could look at another man and say, I don't know why I've looked over there. You know, I don't know why I looked at that guy, or I don't know why he looked attractive. It starts from something. I mean, you even think about some of the stuff people do sexually that they like. There was a time, let's be real, we're on an unfiltered show here. Let's be real. There was a time when men did not like, they don't care if women are down there exploring the area. Some men don't, some men prefer it. There was a time when a man would never do that. They would just be like, no, it was a no right off the gate. But now men are, they doing all kinds of stuff. Baby, let me tell you. Now it's open field goal. It's like, whoop, hey, get a field goal. We gonna hit a home run. And they don't care. Don't care. Now they might not tell their next girlfriend that they're pursuing that I like this fluffy feeling or like being tossed every once in a while. Does it make it a secret that they should take to their grave? Because the next girl might be like, nigga, what? You want me to do what? And how and when? And are you out of your mind? You know, it could be that conversation. That could be that conversation. But if you want to keep it 100, this is the stuff that people keep in the dark. It's like, it's not this and it's not that, but it really be that and it really be that. Just saying. Have you ever tried to make your ex jealous and it backfired? Have you ever just tried to make them jealous and it backfired with your indiscretions? I don't know. I'm not really into making people jealous. I really don't give a shit, actually. I don't care if everybody's jealous or not. But some people do. Some people do. I have friends that do stuff like that. They're real tit for tattish. I have friends that are like so tit for tattish. I'd be like, girl, you gonna get yourself killed. Stop playing with these niggas. Stop, girl. Because I've learned, and I did years ago, and I would go back to years. A lot of the stuff in my life has happened years ago because I'm a reborn right now. I don't get into the shit I used to get into. But when I did, I did. When I was in it, honey, and I was all the way in it. That's why I had to come back and repent 4-5 times, and and have holy waters dropped on me 100 million times, because I was really bad. Like, and when I say bad, it was everything. It was that life. It was about, the life that I lived. I was in the streets. So being in the streets comes with a lot of stuff, and especially when you're dating a nightclub owner, when you're dating people that's in that lifestyle, you kind of fall into the lifestyle. You everything goes, everything is fast, it's fast paced, and everything's moving around you so quickly. So you have to ask yourself, what you go for, what you do, what you don't do. And we did a lot, we did a lot of stuff. So when you come to this halt in the road and you tell yourself, and I remember, when I first met Lovely Domino, we was in the club at Sandcastle, and I had this friend. I want to say his name because he watches this show, but he was my friend back then, real good friend of mine. Like, we was 10 toes in, good dude, good friend, and he really was my friend. And he liked to dance, and I loved to dance. So I walked into the club that night. Me and Domino probably had been dating for about 3 months, but he made me his girl the second day that he dated me. First relationship that I ever had that was that fast. It was in 2 days, but I became a woman very quickly. So we're in the club that night, and I came in, and I'm dancing. I was dancing by myself initially, but me and my friend, every time he would come, anytime we would be in any situation, we would always dance because he liked to dance and I did too. So he was on the dance. He saw me, spotted me when he came in the door, and he's like dancing, he's dancing. And I'm like, yeah, we out there, we're doing our little 1-2s, and we're having fun. Now, I'm not thinking nothing of it, but I just so happened to glance over. And when I glanced, here's old crazy looking at me with that same eye. He's looking at me with like side eye me. And I'm going, in my mind, well, I know the man ain't mad. I'm going, I know he ain't mad. That can't be what it is. And so when I went over to him, I go over jolly old me. Hey, baby. I'm hugging his neck and I'm trying to be. And he was like, no. He was just like, no. We go again with this roller coaster. Because he got jealous over everything. I mean, it was everything. And then this is when I learned the behavior of being a silent woman, like being very silent. But then when you become the silent person that you're not, it's like you're almost cutting off your lungs and saying, don't breathe, because it's not who you are. You don't know how to be that person because you like to be outspoken. You like to talk. You like to speak. You like, those kind of things. But he didn't like that. He always wanted me to be silent, like very silent, like whatever the situation was. That was who he was. But I've learned that I can't date a man like that anymore because I don't want to be that quiet. Like, I don't want to be quiet to the point where I can't move. I feel like if you go out to a party and people are dancing, dance. We're Jamaicans, so we dance all the time. It's like that's all we know how to do. We don't mean nothing by when we're dancing. We're dancing, we're having fun. We ain't thinking none of all this other shit that people be thinking. But people think what they think because maybe that would be their behavior. And maybe that's why. I'm just saying. Melvin said, I didn't. You didn't what, Melvin? Because when y'all come back and say little 1-worders and 2-worders, I don't even know what y'all be talking about. But it's just and it goes back to me saying, I've learned that certain things you just don't talk about. You don't have to. It's almost like you see in somebody and you say you're not home and you go, you can go in when I'll let you in. You're just going away from me. In your mind, you're not thinking that this person is in here snooping around your house. You're not going to be thinking, well, this nigga finna snoop. He finna be looking through stuff to figure out what he can find. You don't think that, right? But people really be doing that though, right? People be really like going through your shit. trying to see what you do, finding out stuff about you. And that's weird. Like, that's a weird behavior. Like, I think that's super weird, but people do it, but I just don't get certain things. Like, I have no desire to go to somebody's phone and look for stuff to be mad about. The mind, they probably have a headache because they're way at the top, way at the bottom, way in the middle. Hey, you can't even figure out what's in there anymore. And then one day your phone rings and your boo picks up your phone and then he gets to scrolling. And that be the day when the one picture that you didn't want nobody to see pop right out. Whoop, it is the devil saying, here I am. And now you mad. You mad at something that's probably from 1990. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy, some of the things that we do and some of the things that we should just, at this point, just say, we're not doing that anymore. We're not going through these roller coasters of life anymore. When you get to a certain age in your life, secrets and all this stuff you keep it. And I always say a secret tells itself eventually. Like, I don't think you have to go looking. You said you didn't make your ex jealous. I didn't have to go looking for things. I don't think you have to anymore. I think it just comes to you naturally. Like, if you sit back and watch for a good little while, stuff, man, if you have to look for shit anymore, it just comes. You just sit back and watch and you'll be like, well, goddamn, where the hell did that come from? Because nothing can stay in the dark that long. That's half the problem. Nothing can stay in the dark so long to the point where you don't even know no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna make its way. Or you're gonna have one person that knows your secret or your story, and they're gonna tell it for you. That's why I actually like admire Cardi B, because Cardi B don't let nobody tell her truth. She tells them on herself. She be like, nah, nigga, before you get to tell it, I'm gonna tell you. So you ain't gonna have to tell it. I'm gonna let you know. And I think that's how I am. I think I just don't be, I just figure if you know, you know. If you are digging through something of mine and you find out something, don't come ask me about it. I'm at a place in my life where I'd probably be mad. Like, because I just figure, like, if I did something when I was 25 and 30 and I ain't tell you, that means I didn't remember. And if you go digging to find out what that was, that foolishness, because at that point it's foolishness. It's just something stupid. It's like, what are we doing here? We're wrong. We're not doing this. We're not going to do this, because you can't erase who you were or who you once was. The thing is, did you get better? Did you get better? What are you talking about? What are you doing differently? Have you grown from it? You know what I'm saying? Or are you just better at it? Now, some people just lie, take stuff to their grave. They build one mountain, they build another one and another one and another one. And before you know it, you're sitting under the mountain with them, trying to figure out the shit they're doing. It takes so much time. It takes so much energy. Actually, it does. Do you think people actually learn from their mistakes in love, or do we just repeat them? Do you think we learn when we make mistakes that we take to the grave? Do you think things that we don't talk out loud about, do you think that we learn from them? I would assume they'll say, I'm not going to do that didn't work the first. Some people absolutely will not do that. But I think it would be better for people to learn from the things that they do wrong and don't do it again. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you never learn anything from anything you've done, then you're just repeating the same cycle. And that means you're not growing, you're not elevating, you're not doing anything. You're just getting better at it. And that's even worse. I figure, like, they say, scratch a lie, find a thief. Once somebody keeps lying to you, you learn not to trust them. You learn the behavior with them. It's almost like you become one. It's like, okay, well, he's lying, so I'm just going to just act like he ain't. And we're going to play along with this same foolishness until I can't anymore. Because you already know. A lot of times people know, when there's some secrets, when they're covered up. You ever be sitting down somewhere and you sit down at a table and you with a lot of people and they looking around like everybody's eyes is roaming like, oh my God, like she right there. You see your friend, you see your boo, he be doing like this to his friend. Be thinking the girl don't be having a clue what be going on and she be already 20 steps ahead of you because she gonna look at this fool. You know what I'm saying? You be really in your mind saying, look at this fool. He doesn't even know. But people do that. Girls do that too. Women do that too. They be sitting at the table. They be like, you get her to say something, their eyes get real big. They be looking at you like this. Side eyeing you. Oh, it'd be hilarious. I'm telling you, the shit that we learn and the shit that we should not do and the shit that we should grow from at some point in our lovely lives. I think that it's better just to be honest. I mean, about whatever. Now, honesty in the future. You meet me today, you learn me today. You don't need to learn about everything I did when I was young. That's not going to serve any purpose in what we're doing, what we're building, or what we're not building. Now, it could give you an outlook, but what if the outlook is wrong? What if, like, you did some stuff young and you grew from it. Now your past is now haunting you because now this person wants to remind you of everything you did when you was 30 and 35. Nobody's doing this. No sense. It makes absolutely none whatsoever. You keep just talking about shit and re-talking about shit and talk about shit that don't even matter no more. The policy. Just be honest, Tell what you want somebody to know. But don't tell somebody what you want them to know and then you tell them a lie. Like, how some people be like, oh yeah, I did that and you ain't did nothing. Don't do that. Don't be that guy that, kind of makes it more than what it probably should be, and then you have people that, are not even who they are. They're not even really who they are. You see one person and they're one way, and then you see them another time and they're a whole another way, and you're trying to figure out which one you got. That is so confusing. That's more confusing than anything. These confessions, y'all, these confessions that we have, these things, what's the stuff that makes, what's a red flag that you ignore? Is lying something that we ignore? We just ignore it. When we see it, we know the person's lying. What about when you know somebody's lying to you and you just keep letting them lie? That can be kind of depressing. Like, the person's lying. Like, you be looking at them like, this nigga don't never tell the truth. And you're in your mind, you're sitting there and you're just thinking you're wasting your time because they're lying anyway. And then you just be like, I'm going to get off this roller coaster before this thing go left real fast. Red flags. You got to pay attention to the red flags, y'all. There's a whole bunch of red flags. Oh my God. You can see them things a mile long. They be coming at you, just zooming until you meet the boss. I always say you meet one and then you meet the boss. Let's see. What is the craziest thing that we have found out about somebody that we're involved in, that we're involved with? And what's the deal breaker? Could you date a person? Like, what if one of the secrets that you found out was you're dating a man and then you found out that he dated a man prior to you? Would you stay? That's for the ladies. Or would you be like, well, that was in his past. He probably was just trying some things. And maybe that's what he did. I mean, don't leave women when they've slept with women. They never do. Now, but a woman, on the other hand, she has to think a little differently because now she has to think about, what's the preference? And like, is his preference this or is his preference that? Or would you stay though? Would you stay and say, well, he did it in his past and he probably was young, didn't know what he was doing, and just kind of slid there and then slid out? Can you get over a one-timer? Just a one-timer where somebody just does something and you're just like, well, I can forgive him for that, but that's it. And could you really forgive and not, bring it up anymore? Could you not be mad one day and scream out loud and say, well, nigga, you did this. And remember you told me what you did and I that's when it gets ugly. This is why we take these things to our grave, because people always want to throw back your dirt in your face. You can't do nothing. Just be like, I did it. I've done it. I'm done with it. They want to keep reminding you that you did it wrong. You made the mistake. You can't, sometimes there's nobody on earth perfect. Everybody has, I said this yesterday, Everybody has a story. Everybody has something that they've done, something that they didn't do. Everybody has a story. Everybody has one to tell. It depends on how you tell it. Some people make their story bigger. Some people make their story, great, where they have nothing they ever done wrong. They make themselves perfect, completely perfect. Let me tell you something. There's nobody out here perfect. That's the first thing. Not a soul. Everybody in life has something that they've done that they probably say, I wish I didn't do that, or I wish I never did that. We all have it. Now, we may look at it a little different. We might be like, well, I did it, but And some people think they're really perfect. That's half the problem. Some people think they're above making mistakes. They think that they just don't do it. And that's another crock of crap from the rest of sort, some kind. I would think the movement would be something serious, I think. Like for me in my life and the way it's lined up now, I don't want to talk about too much shit that I've done in my life. I want to move past that, and build whatever I'm building with you. I don't want to be talking about what I did with Sam and John and these people from the past, because they're not relevant anymore, right? You can ask me a question and I might answer one or two, but that's probably all you're gonna get. That's probably all you're gonna get out of me. I don't want to sit and mourn in it. If I'm past it, you should be past it with me. We shouldn't be sitting here discussing it. Why is it the topic of our conversation? There's got to be other things to talk about. Like it has to be. When you ask 2 or 3 questions, I'll give you 2 or 3. I think every relationship you can ask 2 or 3 questions. After you get the 2 or 3 out, probably need to ask much more. It's not even really worth it, actually, because the person's lying, and then you find out that they did tell half of a lie. And if you be around people's friends long enough, honey, they get real comfortable and they get to talking. It always happens that way. They get to talking too much, and someone might say the wrong thing, and then y'all sitting there all looking crazy because this one done said the wrong thing. Now y'all trying to figure out how to cover up what this person done said and then called you out on. It's a code. It's a code. It's a code that you follow, y'all. One that you just don't. You follow the code and you stick to it. You just be like, we're not talking about that. That's not what we're talking about. You can't. Some things you just leave where they're at and you elevate from it. If you meet a person, everybody has a past. I say that respectfully so. And some people have horrible pasts. Some people have a past that they don't want nobody to know about. And there's nothing wrong with being private. There's nothing wrong with, I did some things in my life. There's a conversation that you can have, and you can say, there's some things that I did in my life that I'm not very proud of. But I've prayed about it and I've moved past it, and I'm a different person now, and I don't want to dwell on that. You know what I mean? I think that's a conversation that should be respected. If someone says that to you, I think it should be respected, period. If someone sits down in the jail and came out of jail, you have people who done killed people, you got all kinds of people, but it doesn't mean that you can't come out of that. It doesn't mean you can't come out of a lifestyle. It doesn't mean you can't come out of a behavior. It doesn't mean that, I'm saying, like you just keep on, because when you volunteer the story, then you got to go back and fix the story. You got to keep going back and asking and keep asking and keep asking and keep asking. Well, you don't want to do too much of that, because then you got this big old hole, and then you're trying to fill all these holes that you didn't build for yourself. So yeah, it's a word to the wise. When you're out here in dating mode and you want to run around here being that guy and that girl, just, sit down and have that little one conversation. Say, is there anything you want to ask me? Ask me now. But ask me now. We're not talking about this later. You want to ask me now. When you're laying in the bed and someone's laying on your shoulder and you're saying, hey, ask me the question. What you want to ask me? You get about 4 or 5 of those passes. And then after that, there's no more passes. There's nothing else to talk about. We've already had this conversation. Or we are having it again about John. John is gone. You're here. You don't want to keep talking about past hurts, past things, past lies, past things you done did. And don't pick up people's diaries. That's another thing. If your wife has a journal or your girlfriend has a journal, don't pick it out. And stay out of people's phones. Like, that's another thing. I can't stand it. I hear my girlfriend saying all the time, I went through his phone. Let me tell you something. People's phones sing like canaries. These phones are the worst things you can pick up on a man nowadays, and a woman. They all have stuff in it. They have stuff like in the phone, but you can put it in a vault. You can put the shit in a vault where if they go on your phone, it looks like an app. They got apps that you can download to hide shit. I'm like, if you gotta do that much hiding, then don't date. That's crazy. But I know people that have actually done that. Like, can manipulate some stuff. Oh my gosh, it's crazy what people would do. Like, I tell you, boy. Some things that people do is like, really, this is what you're doing. This is what we're doing at 50 and 45. Like, no, we're not doing this. This is a child's behavior. We're not doing it. If you touch it, leave it alone. You know, for me, I don't even put a code on my phone, y'all. I just feel like, baby, if you pick it up, you better be saying hello. You better be saying hello. Hey, how you doing? Because we're not having nobody flipping out on telephone. I talk to too many people in a day about business to where it's gonna be people calling. You know, you have to be pretty secure. You know, I don't fantasize too much anymore. You know, back in the day, I used to fantasize. I ain't fantasizing over friends nowadays, y'all. Not at all. I'm not fantasizing over people. I'm just, I be doing my little 1-2s. A little 1-2-1-2s. Y'all know how I be saying them. My 1-2-1-2s, y'all. You just gotta, tell the truth, y'all. Tell the truth. And if you don't want to have the conversation, just say that. If someone asks you a question and you know it's a bad answer coming out your mouth, just say, I'd rather not talk about that. That's something that I did in the past and I don't want to keep talking about it. Don't nobody want to keep reliving the shit they done and the shit they done buried in their grave that they want to keep at the bottom of the grave under the person that then died on top of it. So yeah, we're not doing any of that. Yeah, hello, Khalib, I think I say your name. So we're not doing these things. We're gonna be great people, and we're gonna learn how to respect people's boundaries, and we're gonna learn how that behaviors are habits that are formed. Y'all, that might have went over some of y'all's head right away. Behaviors are habits that are formed. We form them. That's the thing. They're behaviors. You can fix behavior. It's like a child having a tantrum. You can teach a child how not to have a tantrum, right? You can tell the child, do not fall out on the floor. If you pop the child long enough, the child's gonna know. We're talking about Unfiltered Confessions, Wildest Relationships, Mistakes People Admit to. Mistakes that you've taken to your grave that you do not want anybody to know about. And eventually the child's going to stop, right? The child's going to stop behaving in a certain manner. Behaviors are taught. They're habits that you pick up. If you're ever covering a lie, that's something he's learned how to do. Good. He's a master at it now. The question is, you said you got planned. Do you want to keep dealing with the behavior of someone who has the problem telling the lie? Like, once you figure that part out, you'll be like, this ain't for me. This is not what I'm going to do, because you're going to forever have to keep worrying and wondering. And that leaves doubt. It leaves you with some headaches that you're going to have that you don't really want, but you're going to have them. Why? Because you listen to this fool tell you 25 lies that you're trying to figure out why he lying in the first place, because you ain't even asking, but he's volunteering the stories and you're just listening to all these stories. You cannot make people get into your brain and mess up your movement of life because they're confused in theirs. Like, you got to make it make sense. Make this shit make sense, y'all. And once it makes sense to you, you just, after a while, you just be like, okay, I'm jumping off the ride, y'all. I rode it long enough. I used to say to people that all the time. You ride around that merry-go-round long enough, you'll get dizzy. Lie with the lies. I want somebody who wants to be halfway truthful. We're going to all lie at some point. It sounds bad, but we are at some point. But I think when you can't tell the truth, just don't say nothing. If there's a question that somebody's asking you that's uncomfortable, and it's really, really uncomfortable to where you don't want to answer the question, say nothing. Say nothing. It's better than telling the lie that you're going to have to keep trying to fix and fix and fix and fix and fix and fix. And then it becomes a problem, because now you're constantly having to fix that problem. And that's even hard. That's a pain in the ass. have to just keep telling the truth, telling the lie, telling the truth, telling the lie. That's, it's a job, right? So we're not doing that. We're not doing that in 2025. We're definitely not doing that rolling in 2026, which is not. We're going to fix ourselves. We're going to work on ourselves. We're going to repair. We're going to tell the truth. If we have confessions that we need to confess them in the beginning. Don't let somebody else tell your story. I tell you that all the time. I tell people this all the time. Don't never give nobody the opportunity to tell your story, to tell your truth for you. Because once somebody gets to telling your story, they can make it sound worse or they can make it sound great. And it depends on who's telling, because people are going to add a little extra spin to it. They'll say, oh yeah, she used to do that. Oh yeah, she used to dance on the pole. Oh my God, she used to do that. And when she did it, this is why she did it. And she used to bend over and they come, all this stuff comes, and there's all this stuff that you didn't do. See what I'm saying? So don't let nobody tell your story. You tell your own. If it's bad, good or not. Somebody's dealing with you, they're going to deal with you if you had the bad. And if they can't, oh well. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, what can you do? What can you do if you can't change what your past was? If you can't, it's like if you're a prostitute and you ain't a prostitute no more, but every time you with somebody, it's reminding you where you been and what you did and what you didn't do. Nobody wants to live like that. That is absolutely insane. Like at all, like period. Like, no, you don't have the right to do that. You're not the judge, the God judge and the juror. No, we're not persecuting people for passes. People have passes. That's what they have. It's how you fix it, how you overcome it, and what you do better. So on this fantastic hour, we got one more day. One more is Thursday, and then we have this lovely weekend that's coming up. It's going to be so beautiful. It's a long one. We get to sit back and relax. We got a September rolling around, and baby, before you know it, September will be gone and we'll be in October, and we'll be at this beautiful premiere behind me singing for freedom. And we will be having a ball and laughing and loving on each other and just turned up and just doing what we do best, being great people, the wonderful people that we are. That's what we're going to do. Anyway, y'all, this is my hour. This is my time. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for coming from YouTube. I'm on here for 1 hour. That's what I can give y'all a day. I have to go and do my table reads now. Y'all have been great. As I always say before I leave, love on each other. Love the people you love. Like the people who likes you. Deal with the people that deal with you, honey. Don't lie if you don't have to. Tell the truth. It sets you free. No, it kind of does. Stay out of people's diaries. Stay out of people's diaries. Talk to somebody in a long time, and you want to, and you're missing them. Reach out. It's okay. If you have a parent, a loved one, a sister, a sibling, a boo, a baby daddy, whoever, reach out. Say, hey, what you think about you? I thought about you today. You crossed my mind. It's okay. It's okay sometimes to do these things. Doesn't make you different. It makes you grown. You know what I'm saying? You be grown sometimes. I tell you, sometimes you do stuff. You just, me and my sister didn't talk for years. And then one day I said, I'm tired of not talking. We finna break bread. We finna talk. Sometimes you got to be the bigger person. Sometimes you got to, love on who loves you. I say that gracefully so. Love who loves you. Deal with who deals with you. If you feel like you're wanting an opportunity with somebody and you want to know them and you want to get to know them better, tell them. People can't read between lines sometimes. People can't read between. We're not having hypnotic sequences going on in the universe where we're trying to throw them back and forth to see who's doing what. Love the people who love you. Pick up the phone. Say it sometime. It's okay. It's okay to say it sometime. It's good old lovely Wednesday. And I will see y'all back here tomorrow, same time, for this one old good old hour that I give y'all out of my lovely day. It's your girl, Shelly. Good night.
Oh my God, it's Shelly laugh. Lyrics don't look at everything. She's playing, she's throwing the work. Loves her, Shelly laugh. She unapologetic, sometimes misunderstood. She a boss, making boss moves, pushing, pressing past.